Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Site. We got game 3 of Bison Brawl today, and today we're going to be playing against Sean Vilmont from Omaha, Nebraska. He was the clubmate of mine that drove down with me to Oklahoma for this event, and we were both 1-1 going into round 3, so we are playing each other. Um, so let's go ahead and take a look at Sean's list and get into the game here. So Sean is playing Riftforged Orcs. He has 2 regiments of Unforged Orcs. He has a regiment of Hellstrikers and 3 hordes of Hellstrikers. One with the Drunken Ram, one with the J-Boots. He has a regiment of Orklings. He has 3 Amber a Stormcaller that's mounted, inspiring, has the Icy Breath and Blizzard 3 option, which was something new that I learned in this game that they could take. A Rift Forger, who is also mounted with Host Shadow Beast 3. He also took Mind Fog 2 and Scorched Earth 3. So really kind of kitted this guy out with a lot of spells. Then he has 2 Stormbringers on Hellstrikers, rounding him out to 14 drops and 23 unit strength. So 15 drops with the Bison. Speaking of the Bison, this game he's got a little bit of different stuff. So he went from being defense 6 last game, now he's lower defense, so defense 4. But he is a 15-17. Still sticking with his 5 attacks. He's Crush 1, Thunder 1 this time, keeping with that Elite and Vicious Melee. But this time he is difficult to shoot, so he is Stealthy, he has Dread, and he has Aura Spellboard. He also comes with Weakness 3. So in this game, we're trying to keep our Bisons alive at the end of the game, and we are trying to successfully cast Weakness on each other's Bisons. So I think compared to the other ones, this one should be one of the easier ones. Obviously, casting Weakness on a spell ward target isn't the best, but it is Weakness 3. It is a 24-inch spell, so we should be able to accomplish that, no problems. This is our table, and the scenario we're playing is Smoke and Mirrors, I believe. So, I do not play many bluff token scenarios, and they rarely come up at events. So when this one was coming up, it was I think I'm clearly out of practice for it. So, but Smoke and Mirrors is when we use the bluff tokens. So there's 2 of them that are 0, 2 of them that are 1, and 1 that's worth 2 for each player. I have to put the tokens down on his half of the table that I place, and then he has to put tokens down on my half of the table when he places them. And we only know where the tokens are, what the points are for the tokens that we place. And then every turn, we each will decide one of our opponent's tokens to flip over. So by the end of turn 4, effectively, we'll know where all the tokens are at that point. Yeah, so I place my tokens like this, and again, I don't play this scenario enough. I definitely feel like I made mistakes because my 2-pointed token is over on the far left here. Next is a 1-point token. Then I have 0, 0, and then 1-point token in the back. My thought was he's pretty fast and aggressive, and he should want to come towards me. So if he's pushing forward, he's going to have to go back to get the token, at least the one in the back right, and possibly also the one in the back left. And then I also have flyers with my characters that could get back there and get to him. But more I think about it after having played it, I have just more frontline infantry and just more unit strength in those as well. So this token right here would actually be a really great one for me to just go and grab. It's protected by some difficult terrain, so even if I just walked up and sat on it, the difficult terrain will help protect me a little bit. Um, so anyway, and then I don't know where his tokens are, so this is Sean right here, ready to go. And after our deployment, this is how it looks. So, Sean, I think I rolled a 3 for my D3 for dropping. So Sean had to drop a lot right away, and he deployed his shooting battery right in the middle here, which wasn't necessarily a surprise, but what kind of tipped off his deployment and what I'm thinking at this point is he deployed this behind this building. There's a regiment of Dracons, and he deployed it like that at that angle, which was like his 5th drop or 6th drop. So when he did that, I knew nothing else is going out here because that is a very defensive drop and positioning. Therefore, I expected, and rightfully so, all the Hellstrikers and the rest of the units to go onto this side of the board. And then that will also push me to believe that his high pointed tokens are all on this side of the board. So, if we go back, I'm standing on a couple, but I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, or maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. Between those 4, I'm thinking I have all of his high point tokens. Which is why, even though I know where I put my 2-pointer and one of my 1-pointers over here, I deployed quite heavily on the right-hand side, thinking that I can't commit heavily to my high point token if I'm just going to sacrifice him getting his, and then there's also a 1-point token that he'll have easy access to in the back. So already it's just like messed up, screwed up, shouldn't have done that. Anyway, so but I'm fairly happy with deployment as a whole. I am just kind of hoping that he looks at this and he says, oh well, Adam deployed all of his stuff over here. All of his high point tokens should be on this side of the board too. Because there's no way he thinks that a regiment of militia mob can just hold his tokens. There is a token behind this building over here that Sean had placed. His is the orange token. So maybe we're outthinking ourselves and outthinking our opponent. I guess we'll figure it out here. But deployment wise, the main thing I set up was actually shooting. I do know from experience that Amber Oxes are actually quite good, especially quite good at taking out regiments of defense 4 and lower, which I'm going to really rely on my regiments of spear phalanx, which need to be able to use to stop these Hellstrikers from alpha striking me and taking off key pieces. So I want to be able to shoot his shooting. That's my key target this game. So I'm going to be able to move up onto a hill, and I have 2 ballistas with clear line of sight right down this middle shooting lane at all of his shooting right here. So that's my game plan, and we'll see if it works. So Sean's deployment, Hellstrikers, Unforged Regiment, one of the, I think this is the J Boots Hellstriker Horde. He has 1, 2, 3 Amber Ox, so 1 on the front line, which I thought was kind of unique. He deployed these early on, so I knew I had a clear shot at one of these guys, where the Orclings provide cover to the Amber Oxes from my ballistas at the very least if they're behind it. So Orclings, this is his Stormcaster with the Blizzard. He has one of his flying Riftforged characters. He then has Horde with Drunken Rams on the outside, regular Horde. He has the Riftforger in between them. The Bison is this ogre-looking guy with bison horns on the back of it. And then his last striker, Yeah, the flying guys. I have militia mob in the back right. My spear, or not spears, my cav. My bison's over here. I have a Pegasus hero, giant spear phalanx, the general on wing beast, the captain sitting right next to him, giant, another spears, another archer horde, both ballistas in the back, my polearm block with general, hero, and militia mob on the far left. And our terrain, which I'll see my movement here, but terrain wise, we got two buildings on the left here. Obviously, we have a hill on the far left and the center bottom. Our forests are centralized on the left and right. Our obstacles are there and there. And then flat difficult was this little graveyard looking thing. And then there's a little piece here that kind of blends in with it, but my knights will be sitting in there for a little bit. And yeah, so I got first turn, or actually, Sean won first turn, but chose to give me the honors of going first, which I don't think was terrible. His mentality was my horde of archers was behind the hill, my ballistas are far enough back. He wanted to shoot at my shooting, and he just did not have shots for turn one. So he gave me first turn, which in this scenario, jumping on the tokens, it's kind of like pillage. So, putting your unit strength on the in 3 inches of these tokens on the bottom of the turn definitely is a benefit to have. But the initial volley of shooting, which if he went first, he wouldn't have gotten either. But allowing me to get initial volley of shooting isn't always the best either. So I just moved forward a little bit here. This Pegasus did turn up and is facing out that way. Just looking out for if he wanted to fly those Hell Strikers out and then pivot to project threat on the center here. The the general here is actually facing forward. Anytime you see them behind a unit like this, they're usually facing forward. Their face is just weird. So I did move up onto the majority onto the hill here, and then everything else over here moved up 10 inches. The giants are just slightly behind, so that way Hell Strikers cannot fit in between the pole arms, and we clear off the edge cap with a hero on Pegasus here. So again, they can't fit in between the hero and the spear phalanx into the giants. Otherwise, we keep everybody else back out of range or impossible to fit. And our shooting is pretty good. In fact, so good that we did enough wounds to the Amber Rocks initially. It was like 8 wounds that I went ahead and took a shot at some Orclings and did a couple wounds onto them as well. So we pick up an Amber Rocks, which was better than expected. I mean, our shooting failed us severely last game, so it's only natural that it should come back and do something this game, right? That's how odds work. And this is Sean's turn one. So he kind of he doesn't really move his lines of L strikers. I'm not in range to charge him, so there's really no need. He does move up with the Riftforgers and then moves behind the obstacle with his character. Otherwise, he just keeps his line steady and is going to just be focusing his fire onto the horde of archers. Yeah. The bison over here just starts swinging out to the right side. He can get a line on my bison to cast the weakness. We both do that fairly early on to check our box for, +1 for the bison objectives. And yeah, so a little bit closer up here, but pretty standard, pretty straightforward. Nothing too surprising happening here. He starts casting, what's it called? Scorched Earth on like my general. My general has the ability to charge one of these hordes, but we're not doing that. So and shooting, he does shoot into the archers and does a little bit of damage, but nothing too big at this point. I have the captain within range to keep them rallied up as well, so it's a little bit tougher for him to bring them down all the way. But the blizzard's especially good because blizzard does not suffer from cover or stealthy penalties. So it actually does do quite a bit of work, and all of his shooting is piercing 1, which is perfect against my defense 3. So turn 2, I'm in the position I want to be in. I'm not moving on the right hand flank. There is no need for me to push up early. End of the turn, we flipped over a token. I flipped over the one on the center of the hill. It was worth 0. I was a little surprised. Again, he deployed everything on this side of the board, so I expected that one to actually be worth something because it was the closest to his lines. But I'm thinking these ones over here should be worth something then. We will find out though. So, since that's worth 0, he flipped over my center one that was over here, and that was also worth 0. So, yeah, so let's go up a little bit here. This is after Sean's turn. So again, I didn't move much. I moved the pole arms a little bit forward. I kept everything else the same, and I shot. So I wavered this Amber Ox, and I put a couple wounds more on the Orclings. So was trying to pick up both this turn. Didn't get either of them, which is just fine. So yeah. So beginning of Sean's turn here, and then this is his movement. So we see that he didn't, or actually, this is after his movement. So his Riftforged or Unforged Orcs ended up moving this way and then pushed into the forest here. And then again, the bison swung out a little bit, but keeping out of range. And then he just repositioned a little bit here. So turn 2, not much movement happening. We don't know where the objectives truly are, so it makes sense. But yeah, he's pushing those infantry units forward, hoping to get them in the way so that his Hell Strikers can really pick their targets. Uh, yep. So on my turn, um, this is my movement here. So end of the turn we flipped, and I don't think it was that one. I flipped. Maybe we haven't flipped yet, but he flipped over my 2-pointer over here, so he knows this is where he wants to be, which is pretty important to get that information out. I think did I flip this one? No, I flipped one of them, but let's see here. No, no, I don't know. I thought I flipped the one on the far left. We'll see. Maybe, hopefully, in a picture here. It's a little tough to read these tokens from the pictures. So, but yeah, this is after my movement's actually done. Again, I don't really need to move, so didn't flip that one. Don't think I flipped that one. So I'm again just maintaining the pressure here. If he wants to charge this heavy infantry regiment can't even fit in between to charge the giant. So if he wants to charge, he's charging spear phalanx, which he's hindered and ensnared. He's hitting me on 6s, and then I'll just flank him with the giant and finish him off. It's no big deal. So shooting saw pretty good shooting for me this turn again. So I First ballista hit once or twice on the already injured Amber Rocks and put him up to like a 3 or 4 twice to kill. And then the rest of the shooting I put into the other one, getting like 5 or 6 wounds, and then getting lucky enough to break them as well. So I have eliminated all 3 of his Amber Roxes at this point, which is huge to have done that by turn 3. And these Orclings are already damaged. I don't think I put any wounds to them this turn. So, um, yeah. So on Sean's turn, he goes ahead and again realizing that this is worth 2. I think I flipped over the left one and realized that was worth 1 point. That's I'm pretty sure what happened this turn. Um, So he moves up the Dracons after committing here. The dragon is actually facing towards the center of the board here. And then I did allow for him to charge the Pegasus, but make it a front charge here. And this is a mistake probably, but in my previous turn, we'll go back just real quick. Excuse me. I moved my leader point up to just be touching the forest here, which did put me just in range of 20 inches of this unit. Hindsight, I don't think I need to do that. I don't. I'm winning the shooting. Like obviously, I didn't know I was going to be shooting those guys off at the beginning of my turn, but I don't think there's a reason to just allow him to have a charge when I don't have like a dedicated flank threat projected towards this unit. So this was a mistake. I shouldn't have moved them in. They should have stayed out of the forest because if these Riftforgers come into the Pegasus, I have a flank on them, and then I can finish those guys off pretty easily, even hindered with a flank. So um, this was a mistake on my part, allowing him to engage multiple units at the same time, and he has the J boot, so of course he's going to pop that, put a big chunk of damage on this horde, and then I need to kind of help save it because again I'm not set up to answer that. He did charge the Bowman Horde with the Riftforged or Unforged Orcs, which I was kind of okay with. These guys were damaged pretty decently. I think we're up to like 9 wounds or so, but we are rallied and inspired, and they're hindered coming out of the forest. So I'm hoping that I can keep them alive, and I do have the Bison at the very least able to see and watch over that, and I might even have the general. Maybe not the general. Either way, uh, yeah, just not playing the most clean, not really sealing up these things because this line is just devastating. Even if he commits into it and I'm not looking at it with anything else, he's not going anywhere. I have enough nerve, I have enough strength to hold him down, to pin him down, and then grind him out even. So some of these units that I have overlooking this particular front line, is a little overkill. It's just not really worth it, and that's just a mistake on my part. I should be more efficient with my tools at this point. So a little closer looks, he does runovers for inspiring, and then he can get a blizzard off on these guys over here. And he moves up the Orclings into the firing lane of the ballistas, but he says, screw it, I need to have them do something, right? And again, we're just playing the stalemate pattern over here. Oh. No, this is the token I flipped over. This one's worth 1 right here. On at the end of turn 2, that's the one I flipped over. So anyway, after combats, he did waver the Pegasus, doing 3 wounds. He wavered the Horde, doing 12 wounds, but they do have Indomitable Will. And yeah, and he did a decent number onto the archers as well. So, yeah, at this point, don't know if we have flipped. Yeah, we have flipped. So he sees that I have a 1 point token on this side now. So that's pretty important. And I believe this is the turn I flipped the left one over and found the 1 point. So anyway, I need to kind of force the issue now that I've well, one, I can force the issue now because this horde is not here, so he's not threatening the flank of the spears if I move up like this. So it's a benefit for that reason, but um, I'd rather that horde be back there and me just maintaining the line if I could control the left hand side of the table, which I know is where there's a lot of points at this point. I don't know where his 2 point token is yet, so once I find that out, it's going to be very important. So anyway, I back up out with the Pegasus. We go ahead and double charge these guys with the General and the Horde. Countercharge here. I must not have had the Bison in range because otherwise I definitely would have taken that flank charge. And again, that was just kind of a stupid positioning. This General, at the very least, should have been looking that way. Bison probably too. It was not a good play on my part by any means. So we're not quite done moving yet over there, but I do move this up and again, maintaining the same form as before, where his legal charges are the spear phalanx and the hero. He can charge these heroes and individuals into the giants, but not the hordes. So the last thing I did end up doing was pushing this militia mob forward. The main reason for that being, he's gonna charge and kill it. Like there's no way I can stop that. But if he does that and charges and kills it here, I have my ballistas that have line of sight to that location. So I can at the very least threaten him with shooting, potentially wavering him. Whereas even if I back up, he's going to be over here, have killed me, and then able to still contribute by hitting a flank over here without any repercussions. So that's my game plan. Sean's turn. He backs up with this line. Oh, shooting did nothing to the Orclings, which it's fine. Our shooting was really good up to this point, but did nothing to the Orclings. So I ended up casting a weakness on the Orclings just to help protect and savor the spear phalanx. Them having a couple wounds before a big hammer like this coming in is actually pretty important. So I was trying to savor them as much as possible. Initially, I wanted to Bane Chant the archers. But yeah, that was the option I went with. So Sean comes in to the flank, or not flank, on the flank. He comes into these guys, which had damage from Blizzard before this already, so they're already up to 5 damage. They're hurting. So, and then he does something kind of peculiar here in the middle. This unit was already up to 12 wounds, and he decides to double charge it with the regiment and countercharge with the Hell Strikers. I guess I get it. Like these guys would be hindered, and if they fail, they might not be enough to kill the horde. But it should be enough to, at the very least, waver me, and I've already popped my Indomitable Will. I would have rather seen him go after the general with this. But anyway, he chose the safer route of guarantee the kill. One thing that did happen, he moved one of the Hellstriker characters straight over. Again, he realizes the 2 pointers over there. So, and I'm pushing down here, walking him down to the back of the board edge over here. So he's like, let's bail out over this way and see if we can get any points over there. And again, his Bison's just being annoying over here, but I'm not too worried. It's only speed 6 this game, so he's not even in charge range to threaten a flank on the giant where he's located. So he does kill the militia mob and turns to the center as we expected. He kills the bowman horde, which is pretty big deal. Um, I can't even remember what they were on. It was something I wasn't quite ready for them to die or expecting them to die, but hitting on 4s, wounding on 2s with 12 attacks, he got enough in there. So, and then he obviously we expected this, but he kills the horde of polearms over here and reforms as such. The base is where the dragon actually is here. So, end of his turn, we have more tokens flipped over. So we know this is 1. We now know this is the 2. So we've been sitting on the 2-pointer, which is good. So we have 1, 2, 3 points solidly in our control. There is this Riftforged unit we have to deal with now, but we have some answers. They're already damaged. And then he knows where all my pointers are. He knows the 2-pointers here, the 1-pointer, and the 1-pointer. And then I do know the 1-pointer over there. So we're playing, playing the game out for the rest here, knowing exactly where everything is and what's going on. So now that the tokens are up, it's a little bit easier to commit to a game plan, I feel. But one thing we did get lucky on is he did not do a single wound. He was hindered, and he's hitting on 6s, and with the weakness, he was wounding on 5s. So, yay, got lucky. So on my turn, we go ahead and move as such, and we'll get some close-ups here. So again, we're banking on the shooting to pick these guys up. But we go ahead and triple charge. We get a rear and 2 fronts. Both fronts are hindered, though. These guys are damaged. 5, 6 wounds, maybe a couple more than that. But we definitely, to guarantee the kill, we need all of them in there. I take the Bison into the Riftforged or Unforged here. I countercharge here, and then we go ahead and move forward with our game plan. And now we're going to commit heavily. So we push forward as far as the infantry can go. Again, protecting the giants by having them slightly behind. We do expose a flank, but it is going to be hindered from the Bison, so we're kind of okay with that. Yeah, so we're committing up at this point. Also, we're allowing the Bison to charge the Knights instead, which again I'm not too worried about. He's not too killy, and then my individual could even get into him at that point and kind of countercharge. I don't think I need the Knights to finish off the units here, especially since I'm pinning 1 down. So, yeah, so that's kind of our game plan here, and we should be able to pick up injured Orclings in 1 round and then turn and face to help come back over here. So our shooting follows through with the game plan. He was outside of inspiring, so we got pretty lucky. I think we put 4 or 5 wounds on him, and then rolled like a 9. And that's definitely what we needed over here. That helps us out a lot. What also helps us out is when we kill a horde of Hellstrikers. I do overrun, which only gets me 1 inch forward with this guy, and then I turn this guy around. This is something that I probably should have done the other combats first, because I don't think this is a good idea. But anyway, we kill the Unforged with the character, which we had forgot he had Dread, so it was something that it was right on it with the Dread, which was great. And we kill the Orclings. So Yeah, that's why I was hoping I should have done that other one last, because now seeing that we're all facing over here, we already have a horde locked down. Like, there's not many targets over here that are going to be um, that we need the general. We need the general probably to go get these tokens. So turning around, big mistake. Not what I should have done. Also, I'm outside of 20 inches of this Hellstriker horde, so there's no need to be looking that way. But alas, we are. So this is how the board looks at the beginning of Sean's turn. I believe this is bottom of 4 here. Maybe it's 5. No, I think it's 5. Uh, 2, 3. Yep, this is 5. So bottom of 5 here. And Sean says it's time to commit. Nothing else to do at this point. So I take this picture, and looking at this picture now, I'm sure some people did the same thing I did, which is forget that he had moved a Hellstriker character behind this building. Um, I've forgotten about it. I don't know about you. So that's another reason why this general should be going this way, but he's not at this point. So, um, yep. So we move. So he does flank charge, front charge, and he was out of range to charge, so he just ran forward as far as he could. With the Hellstriker character to help block up the knights, and he's just hoping to break this giant, but he is hindered. The J Boots one was the one in the middle that got killed. So we're sitting pretty. It's hindered flank, hindered front into a giant that is rallied and inspired. That is favorable for the giant always. He icy breaths my hero and does a wound and wavers him. He doesn't do enough to the giant, so the giant stays there. We're fine. He does kill the hero up here, though. So, top 6, this is what we're looking at. And this is when I realize, oh, shoot. He does have that character behind this building over here. It's because I was originally going to fly over with my general, and I would have to be facing this way. So it was either a rear or a flank charge from his guy into my general, if I wanted to try and take that token. Well, that's not good. I don't want that, because bottom of 6 for him, he could easily charge me. At the very least, I could have probably positioned to where if he charges me, he's not contesting the token, but he could easily just move there and contest the token instead of charge. So, um, yeah, and we're not even controlling this token right now because this is a unit strength 3 regiment. So, because this Pegasus got wavered, we can't even use a bait Pegasus over there to hope that we can, live. We're just in all sorts of trouble here where turn 6 is not looking good for us. We definitely need a turn 7. So, because we're going to have 1, 2, 3. He has 1, 2, and then 3, 4 once he moves this guy over there. And then an important piece is Sean has not used his tournament reroll up to this point. I believe I did use my reroll. I think I rolled Snake Eyes on this horde of Hellstrikers in the middle, so I did use my reroll again on that. Really shitty blurry picture. And over here, so I believe he charged his individual over here. That's why we're positioned in such a way. So I charge the Hellstriker character. I charge back into the horde of Hellstrikers and flank them, hindered flank, and then we double charge into the Riftforger character that's sitting right here. And we just move back to capture this token, and we're casting weakness on somebody like him or the horde or something. We do kill the Riftforged character, the um, what's it called? The Hellstriker character, and we position. We overrun again. I don't know why I did this. I was just, this day one I think was kind of riddled with some mistakes that I shouldn't be making. But if we look, my positioning right here was just fine. If I would have reformed in such a way that I could run past these guys. And there's a token right over there. So, and I haven't even used my J boot, so I can, get the Pathfinder for the turn if that terrain piece is sticking out too far. Um, yeah, just really bad play on my part there. I should have. There's no reason I should have done what I did. So, anyway, I overrun into this position. I do waver the horde, I believe, with the damage. The giant here is actually facing forward, but because of his club, he would murder a unit. So I did kill the Rift Forger with these two and ran the giant forward, just reformed this unit here. So this is how the board looks before Sean goes and after Sean goes. So he moves up. This guy does end up turning and facing a 90-degree pivot, um, just in case there is a turn 7, but this is before he ends up doing that. So, I did get lucky again with my shooting. I shot the Unforged Orcs, and I actually got a waiver on them when they were in the forest here. I think they were undamaged up to that point, so my shooting's definitely bailed me out this game. It's come back from last game strong, and killing 3 Amber Oxes, killing a regiment of Hell Strikers, getting some good waivers when I need them. Like the shooting has just been tremendous, and unfortunately, I'm just not playing as well as I should be to be capitalizing on that. So going into Sean's turn, yeah, he just sits there where he is. He goes back in. Like I said, I don't remember if I wavered or not, but it's a front and a flank again. I think I did waver him, so it's just the flank that he's rolling dice for. And he specifically did not charge because he wants to be controlling that 1 point token. So he keeps his horde back here, keeps it safe. So Sean did what I did and said, last turn's going to be important. And so he saved his reroll for that. He rolls a 4. And then he re-rolls with the Bison dice, and he rolls a 6. Um, so again, I did not play as well as I could have. This game is not my game to win. Sean deserved that win, but he yeah, you can even see his hand. He's like, "Yep, well that's game." We both kind of know that he needed turn 6 to end there, because turn 7 is not going to be pretty. So, but sometimes better lucky than good, I guess. So we get turn 7. Again, if it had ended, Sean had 1, 2, 3, 4 points to my 1, 2, 3 for the win. But now that's going to be quite different because I use my flyers to do what they do best, which is go be a pain in the ass at the end of the game and get the points that we really want and need. And this is how it turns out. So I double charge up here. Again, the wings and everything. So it's a double charge. The Pegasus, which he shot at again and luckily did not do any damage to this turn, the Pegasus was able to fly over and get just within 3 inches of this 1 point token. So we're just looking to survive a blizzard on the last turn. And I specifically chose to double charge here because even if I don't kill him, I'm in a position to where I'm controlling that token. This giant charged the Hellstriker Horde, and then I charged everything into this Hellstriker Horde, mainly because the giant or the Bison is worth 0 points. Um, if it is alive at the end of the game, you get points, but you don't get points for killing it. So um, I was just like, not worth it. Don't need to commit time to it. So again, if I had positioned these knights better, they actually could be contesting that token. And the giant right there would also be there, so that would be my token. But made the mistake. So I do kill the horde, and the giant does not kill this horde, which I wasn't necessarily expecting it to. I did. It's not inspired, but I did need a good roll in order to kill it because it was only on like 1 wound. Yeah, because it had life leeched from when my hero went in, so I think it was only on 1 wound. So over here we get pretty lucky actually. 14 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s against a 13-15 inspiring guy. Um, it's like a 6 or a 7 twice after wounds and everything, which, again, it's not a gimme by any means. So what we did was we backed up with one of the generals, which gets him just in range of inspiring the Pegasus now. Tough to see. He's obviously on a hill, but you got to trust me. Very inspiring. Is a long ways. So. And after we killed stuff, we just turned to look at the bison and called it good there. So Sean moves. He's just going to cast Blizzard here. And then he ends up killing the giant with his bison, which was pretty impressive. What was it? I had 11 wounds on me, and he rolls a 9, and I'm like, wow, sorry man, I'm rallied, so I'm actually a 21 nerve. And then I was like, because Bison doesn't have brutal this game, right? And we look and we look and we're like, no, but he does have dread. It's like, oh shoot, all right, so re-roll, and he gets another 9, and so he picks up some attrition at the end of the game here too with that. So um, I guess that's a reason why maybe we should have tried to charge the bison, but oh well, live and learn. And but we did get lucky on the one that really mattered, which was the Pegasus living. The inspiring mattered. He killed it on the first roll, and then did not kill it on the second roll. So in the end, Sean has 2 points, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So I won by 3 point or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 points, so I won by 4 objective tokens. I think I had a +1 for attrition as well in this game, because I think that was like a 300 or 400 point difference, which I obtained, or maybe it was a 0 because the giant died, but I think I got +1 for attrition. So in the end, 14 points for the win. I believe it was +2 for the objectives, +1 for the attrition, and then +3 because I accomplished both Bison tasks by casting weakness on him, as well as keeping him alive. So in the end, that was a 20 points victory, when it easily should have been like a 7 point defeat. So I feel for Sean, especially when you save your reroll for the most vital thing, the last turn, and you play it really well, you play it right, and things just don't go your way. Yeah, it's just painful. So uh, I'll take the win when I get him, but I definitely don't feel like I deserve this win. Sean definitely played better than me to the objective. I think the one thing that Sean and I talked about improvement wise was actually utilizing his shooting to better effectiveness. So when we were just in the stale like shooting standoff, his guys didn't move, and I told him with this lane here, my ballistas can only see and shoot up to a certain point. When you're shooting at the archer horde, you should have moved the Ambroxes out of front line of sight and behind this forest so that the ballistas can no longer shoot them. And doing so, you're still maintaining shots on the archers that are on the hill here, which will allow you to win in the end. Because if it's just my archers, I don't really have the advantage. But when it's the archers combined with the ballistas, that's when I did enough. I spiked enough and I killed the units. Um, and then I also explained to him, since we're both 24-inch range, my horde of bowmen has to shoot from the leader point and draw distance from the leader point, and his little monsters just draw from their leader point. But since they're such a smaller base, you can actually draw 24 inches to the corner of my bowmen from, say, behind this wall over here, which again I won't have cover because I'm on the hill, and you can force me to move with my bowman if I want to shoot your Ambroxes, which is going to be -1 to hit for my bowman. So I think that was the one thing Sean definitely could have played better and done better in the overall game. Otherwise, he played the objective better than me, and the lack of experience with this scenario really showed on my part. So glad I got to play Sean. We've played a couple practice games, but this was the first tournament game, and again, definitely he deserved this one, no matter what the scorecard says. So. And then I'm glad I got practice with this particular scenario. It is not one that I have played for a very long time, and it definitely shows. So going into day 2, we're sitting at 2 wins and a loss. And a lot of, I would say, sloppiness, mistakes, things that could be tightened up and improved upon throughout the day. So, not terribly happy with the play, but I've been having a lot of fun. I really enjoy the army as a whole, and I think that you know it just shows that there's a lot more experience and a lot more to tighten up with the list and playing it than what I maybe originally thought coming off of Lady of the Lake. I felt like I played much better at that event than I did the first day here. So we'll get a good night's sleep, recuperate, regenerate, come back, focusing on these scenarios tomorrow. And so we'll have game 4 coming up for you here shortly. I appreciate you all for watching. And until next time, we'll see ya.